Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Solari Report. Today we're going to talk about one of my recently discovered new favorite things to talk about, which is art. And we're going to do that with one of my, albeit the favorite mentor and guide in this newly discovered realm of art, Nina Heyn, who is the writer, editor, and the mastermind behind Food for the Soul. And today we are going to talk about learning about art. So who better than my personal mentor and guide and wealth of knowledge, Nina Heyn. Welcome. It's great to talk to you again.
Hi, it's great to talk to you, even though it's a little bit hard to talk after that wonderful introduction. So let's just jump into what we are going to be talking about.
Excellent.
So, our conversation is actually part of the larger framework for an quarterly issue of Wrap Up at Solari Report, which is going to be entitled Loving Art. We are devoting the whole issue to this subject, which is slightly removed from finance and political news that usually fill the pages there, but maybe not that far, which is why we are talking about art and education in this particular conversation. I have the honor of being a guest editor of the art part of that issue. And you and I would talk about what does it mean loving art and loving education and how the two things connect. I think that I'm well placed to make some comparisons because I was born and raised in Europe like you are, but I have spent half of my time in the United States. So I can just compare the two worlds, and I feel that I have a unique perspective on how different art or how differently art is being treated by the Europeans and Americans. Obviously, this is generalizing because it depends when and how and what place, but I have a feeling that in the United States, fine art, the art with a capital A, if you like, is treated, or art education is treated as something that is additional to education, very kind of elitists, available both through access to art and understanding of art and education about art. It seems to be kind of mostly reserved for people who are affluent and educated. And in Europe, the access to the same art is much more, well, let's say democratic, even though this is probably not the right word, but much more casual and much more populist.
Right.
And I observe it when I go, between Europe and United States, and I look at museums and I look at what happens at schools, and I talk to people who have children. And that kind of leads me to a question that I would have for you, a person who lives in Europe and is a father, and what do you think? You obviously have been to United States as well. So what is your opinion on this?